Okay, hope you guys are well this evening. I'm not really gonna go through the PowerPoint that's provided for your review on Canvas over the material this week. I encourage you to click through it, but I really want to focus in on a Courtroom 101 PowerPoint that I put together at my previous job, and it's training that I would put on for incoming social workers, newer social workers, so they knew what to expect as they began a career of forensic social work in the criminal justice setting. So this week is really about just that. What does social work look like in a courtroom? And so there are various roles of a social worker in a court setting. You got a caseworker. That would be a social worker who is connected with the Cabinet for Health and Family Services, Department of Community-Based Services. You may see CHFS or DCBS, that's what that is. They are involved with families who are going through situations of neglect, abuse allegations against parents, dependency. Then you've got DPA workers. DPA is the Department of Public Advocacy. They hire social workers, and those social workers are really resource researchers. They're out in the community looking for resources to then connect individuals involved with Public Defender's Office so that they can reduce rates of recidivism. Recidivism meaning returning back to the jail for one reason or another after being released from jail. People face a lot of barriers. They face housing, employment, transportation barriers, I mean, you name it, mental health concerns, ongoing concerns with substance use. And when we don't reduce that recidivism rate, it's usually because we are not focusing in on how to encourage an individual to be self-sufficient once they are released from jail. Then you've got CASA advocates. CASA is a court-appointed special advocate. They are volunteers. They're amazing. They work with families who are justice involved due to dependency, neglect, and abuse allegations. So we mostly see them in a family court setting. I've worked with them for many years. They're a great asset. It's another set of eyes on a family. It's another set of hands to help a family, and they're strictly volunteers. So I have a lot of respect for what they do. And then you've got detention center workers, social workers for incarcerated populations, so people on probation and parole. Of course, therapists for those who are criminal justice involved. And then this is kind of a new forensic social worker role. The law enforcement agencies, so the police departments, have started hiring social workers to do quick response. And what that means is, like, say there's an overdose and the police respond to that overdose, and the person survives the overdose, they will then send their social worker out to connect with that person, to then connect that person with resources or that family with resources to assist with this substance use disorder that's in front of them. I wanted to, like I said, because I try to keep these always at 15 minutes, I don't want to bore you guys or overwhelm you. There is a lot of information in here, so just, some statistics to take notice of, and click through that. It's on Canvas, like I said. I did want to kind of go into this Courtroom 101 training that I would put on for the social workers back when I was at the courthouse. What I started to notice was new social workers would come into the courtroom, and I have been that social worker myself. Very nervous, terrified actually would be the right word, and unsure of myself, not quite sure of the case, not quite sure of the system or the processes in a court setting. And I then started seeing other social workers come into the courtroom like that, and I just felt for them because I'd been there. And so I developed this training in this PowerPoint to put on. I did it a few times while I was there. Usually it was about every 6 months I would put this on. So the adversarial system I always like to go over. The legislative purpose of dependency, neglect, and abuse per KRS 620.010. Kentucky Revised Statute. That's what that KRS is. Go look at it. It's the way that judges interpret the law and make their findings. It's based off of the Kentucky Revised Statute. So this just explains that children have fundamental rights that need to be protected, that they deserve a secure and stable family, a right to an education, that they are free from physical, sexual, or emotional injury or exploitation, and that at times court involvement is necessary to protect these children and their rights. The system is adversary. It's quite tense in the courtroom. There are attorneys that are vigorously fighting for their clients, meaning the parents. The parents are in there with allegations of neglect, sexual, physical abuse, not getting their kids to school. And it can get quite tense in there when social workers are cross-examined. And we'll get into that a little bit. But these are the people you'll see in a courtroom. A judge, obviously. There's a county attorney, which also could be referred to as a prosecutor. Panel attorneys, or attorneys who are representing defendants. There might be an interpreter in the courtroom, a family court case specialist, which was my role when I was at the courthouse. Educational professionals, so pupil personnel show up from the schools to inform the courts on student progress with attendance. Sorry, what's that word? Attendance. CASA workers, like I said, clerks will be in there. You'll see bailiffs in there, just to kind of help to keep order. And this is more, I should have said this in the beginning, this is designed really for a family court setting, not a criminal court setting. And I wanted to present this because a lot of you, more often than not, you're going to find yourselves in a family courtroom, okay? So, some information about the judge. They ultimately make determinations of what's in the best interest of a child in a family court setting, where the child should go custody-wise to be the safest. What is in the child's best interest. They're the ones who are hearing the evidence and deciphering fact from, they're getting down to what is fact here, and they're reviewing those facts to then determine if it's safest for a child to be removed from that situation and placed in a different situation, such as foster care or with a family member, whatever it might be. They ultimately make that decision, okay? The county attorney or the prosecutor, they prepare the cases for hearings. They present evidence. They are the deciding factor on whether or not the county is going to move forward on a case. Therefore, they show up to the courtroom with all of the evidence that they need to proceed on a matter. And if they don't have enough evidence to proceed on a matter or to try a case, they're not going to. So they will be in contact with you as a CHFS social worker, or as a therapist, or as a DPA advocate, doesn't matter. But most of the time it was the CHFS social worker they're in contact with, gathering evidence to then provide to and present to the judge. And then you've got the attorneys in the courtroom who are there to defend either the parents or the children. When the attorney is defending a child, they are referred to as a guardian ad litem, or in cases of status offenses like runaway charges against a juvenile or truancy concerns, the child may have a public defender. So what this attorney is doing, what their main job is to do, is to vigorously fight for their client's rights and to protect those client's rights. And that's when things kind of get a little uncomfortable in court. That's when you run the risk of being cross-examined, or you run the risk of your credibility being shredded right in front of a room full of people. It's happened to me. Alright, sorry. So, an example of when I was cross-examined and I hadn't completed something that was court-ordered to have been completed was when the judge ordered a home evaluation to be done on a relative. And a home evaluation is that we go out and we check out a home and we make sure that it is proper, meets minimal standards of safety to place a child in a home, maybe out of foster care and with a relative, right? And I remember vaguely being asked to do this home evaluation at a prior court appearance. Fast forward 3-4 months, I'm at the next court appearance, and that home evaluation was not done. And the guardian ad litem who represents the child is ripping me apart in the courtroom. Did you or did you not do this home evaluation? I mean, deep down, I just wanted to be like, no, but here's why. Well, they're going to cut you off if you say no, but here's why. They're going to say this is a yes or no question, answer it yes or no. You don't need any other, you're going to be crawling out of your skin like, no, I didn't complete it, but I really want to tell you why. Well, you'll have a chance to tell why during rebuttal when the county attorney pops back in. Miss Doolin, why is it that you did not complete that home evaluation? Then you'll have a chance to explain it. So just try to be patient with the process and understand it's their job to kind of, I guess in diminishing your credibility a little bit, it helps with their case. And they're just trying to protect their client. So I have a lot to cover and I'm running out of time. AOC interpreters, you'll see them in the courtroom. They'll be providing interpretation for clients who do not speak English. CASA volunteers, like I said. I wanted to go over this as interesting and I thought you might find it interesting. 2008 numbers of cases filed of abuse, neglect, and dependency by county. Get that a look over. I don't have this PowerPoint also available for you to review. And then children served by CASA volunteers. This was my role, like I said, family court case specialist. I was hired to be a community liaison, to do outreach in the community, to do some program development for the courts. These trainings this training, for example, that was put on for the social workers was much more detailed in person. But then you've got the clerks. They're the record keepers of the courts. Family court cases are confidential. You won't see anything about a family court case or dependency, neglect, abuse matter in Kentucky on the news. Sometimes you'll see some stuff from Ohio on the news. But in Kentucky, as far as I know, I'm not sure what the law is in Ohio, but I do know in Kentucky that these cases are confidential. And then stages of a case, you've got your ECO hearing. That's when a petition is filed of neglect or abuse or dependency, and that's when the prosecutor is deciding to either move forward or not with the case. Then you'll have the adjudication, and that is simply the trial. That's when you bring all the evidence to the court, and a trial may be held to determine if the allegations are in fact factual or not. The dispositional hearing, that's the first time in the court process that we will have written recommendations from the cabinet, and those will be adopted or not by the judge. Other review hearings, after those 3 hearings are completed or conducted, you'll continue to review the case potentially if needed. So that's that. I'm running out of time. I tried to speed through that. I could go on and on and on and on, but I will post this online for you to review. Go through the other PowerPoint. I'm starting to get your papers in. Make sure they're in APA format, please, before you submit those. Those are due tomorrow evening. Otherwise, I hope you guys are doing well. Reach out if you've got any questions, as always. All right, and I will see you next week.